We're looking at 3D mapping effects on city planning. I welcome you once again. And my name is Moyoluwa Oladide. I'll be your presenter for today. And we are looking at 3D mapping effects on city planning, discussing leveraging how we can leverage GIS technology for city planning. So our agenda for today is as follows. We will start with the welcome speech, which I have started with already, followed by presentation, polls, and then questions and answers. And so for our questions and answers, okay, I'm so sorry about that. So for our question and answers, I would like us to either raise our hands or we can type down our questions. And we have a group of panels that would answer our questions for us today. So once again, I welcome you to today's webinar brought to you by Sambos Geospatial. And I'm talking to, who is Sambos Geospatial? I want to give us a brief detail about Sambos Geospatial. Sambos is an application development firm that integrates technologies and provide a range of geospatial solutions. We are sole distributor of Esri and Envy, and we are the authorized distributor of Trimble and Wictra with exclusive representation in Ghana, Nigeria, Gambia, Gabon, and Liberia. And today we are from the Nigerian branch. That is where I'm speaking to you from. I'm speaking to you from Sambos Geospatial, Nigeria. So Sambos Geospatial, we offer services that range from the sales of Esri. Esri is an organization that creates geographic solution, which one of them, as we all know, is ArcGIS. We also provide the sales of Trimble, a mapping grade GPS devices that sells mapping grade GPS devices. We also provide the sales of Harris Geospatial, who are the producers of remote sensing softwares, and also Wingtra, who are producers of Wingtra Bontrol. Also, we provide professional services, which include systems integration, solutions configuration, software deployment, project management, and also we provide after-sales service. We provide after-sales service, which include training services, technical support, follow-up renewals, and so forth. So before we begin the presentation, I would like us to answer a poll, and I think I'm just going to launch that poll right now. And this is just to understand where each and every one of us are coming from in this webinar, which industry we are from. And so you can check your chat box. You will see a link to the poll. Please let's supply our answers. Thank you very much for that. And so right now we'll be going straight into our presentation. And I would like to introduce one of our technical analysts in the house, Mr. Benedict Obina. He's the one that will be taking us through this presentation today. Mr. Benedict, can you hear me? Are you ready for us?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. The floor is yours, sir. You can start your presentation.
All right, thank you very much. So I want to take your permission to share my screen right now. All right, please kindly confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning or evening from wherever you're joining. My name is Benedict from Sambos Geospatial Nigeria Limited. So we'll be talking about how we can leverage GIS technology for city planning. Today is actually the World City Day. So we want to use this opportunity to see the capabilities of the ArcGIS system and some of the tailored applications for city planning. So I'll be going straight through the outline for today. So we just have city planning overview. I'm sure we have some as a GIS analyst, city planning is important. It's not just for the urban planners alone. The engineers are part of it. The GIS analysts are part of it. The surveyors are part of it. Just everything that has to do with environmental studies. So we want to look at the city planning overview. We want to look at some of the strategies and initiatives of city planning. I want to look at some of the tools you can leverage for city planning and what are the capabilities of these tools to help you plan city and help you aid some of your analysis. So we'll be going straight into what city planning is. As we all know, location is at the center of all community and urban planning practices. So location is a, a very important indicator. City planning encompasses the policies and the processes that influence the development of towns, cities, and regions. So it has to do with how policy comes, what are the policies to put in place to make sure that a city is functional. City planning can shape the spatial form of cities, which also has a direct impact on the social life. So it has to. It's very very simple that geospatial technology is very, very important in city planning. You want to know the locations of place, you want to know the zoning, you want to know the land use, you want to know some of the attributes that will, make up a good city. So, like we all know, Esri is one of the pioneers of smart city technology, which helps planning professionals determine how, where, when the designs can have the greatest impact to improve the quality of life. So we want to go into the strategies. So one of the strategies has to do with current community planning. So as we all know, city planning can shape the spatial form of cities. We want to look at how we can leverage some of the tools for current community planning. We want to analyze proposed development. We want to look at streamlining permitting review, you want to measure green infrastructure, and you also want to conduct code enforcement and site inspections. So this has to do with the current planning. If you're undergoing a city planning, you want to make sure you maintain the current community planning. You want to have those data sets at your fingertips to make analysis to adjust the current situation of that particular city. Another strategy you want to look at is the long range plan. You want to plan for a long period of time. This involves developing different models and multiple land use scenarios. We'll look into that also during the demonstration. I want to look at generating environmental impact analysis, which is very, very important. As we all know, planners have the obligation to create a path of sustainable and equitable development that leads to opportunities everyone deserves in the community. So we want to also look at evaluating build out analysis. We want to look at establishing data and plan standards, and we also want to look at assessing the quality of life. So long range planning has to do with not just the current planning. You want to plan for now and the future ahead. Another initiative has to do with the resilience planning. We want to look at some of the the environmental impact. What impact does we want to look at? How flooding affects your city. We want to also manage acute shock and stress. For cities that undergo earthquake, you want to know how to mitigate and what you need to do to bring back the city into action. We want to look at assessing conservation and preservation activities, parks, forest reserves, and the rest. We want to support economic sustainability too, and most importantly, we want to promote the social equity and the healthy community. So these are some of the initiatives you need to consider when you are planning a city. Now, another initiative is actually the economic restoration and planning also. Planners play essential role in supporting economic restoration. We want to look at how businesses affect the day-to-day activities of people. We want to assess the business needs of the community when you're actually planning a city where you locate the central business districts. You want to look at measuring the employment and purchasing power. We also want to look at how you can alter some land use to actually favor some of the economic restoration. Also, want to also see how you can identify community priorities to actually assess their needs also. We also want to look at citizen engagement, which is very, very important. Just doing analysis sometimes is not enough. We want to actually get feedback from the communities. We want to see what is actually wrong in some of the plans that have been put out, and get feedback from the community on how to change and mitigate some of those issues. We want to also see it as an opportunity to inform the public when you, for example, you are carrying out a project, you're carrying out a demolition. So you want to see how you can also, engage the citizens to create awareness for this. You want to also conduct project-focused public surveys, right, to get, their feedback, to get some indicators for you to actually, plan your cities. So there are still more initiatives, there are still more strategies, but those are like the basic strategies to look out when you're actually planning a city. We'll go straight into what are the tools you want to use, what tools are available for you to use for your city planning to help you make more informed decisions when you're actually conducting an urban planning activity. So here I want to look at just some three simple tools in ArcGIS Pro, in ArcGIS system actually. So we have the ArcGIS Pro, we also have the ArcGIS Urban, which is a web-based platform, and we also have the City Engine also. So now the ArcGIS Pro, as we all know, most of us are familiar with the ArcGIS Pro. So supports data visualization, advanced analysis, authoritative data maintenance, both 2D, 3D, and even 4D. So what are the benefits, of ArcGIS Pro to city planning? I want to look at, you'll be able to explore your data and visualize the data. I want to make 3D extrusion, 3D analysis with it. You want to manage data coming from different sources, the local governments, the public feedbacks, and you can also use your cartography and symbolization to make informed maps and 3D maps. We also want to look at collecting data from different formats. So the ArcGIS Pro or ArcGIS Esri has worked with a lot of other systems like the Autodesk. You could be able to bring in your CAD data, your BIM data, your Revit files into ArcGIS Pro and georeference them. So as a city planner or someone who works in the city planning administration department, you want to look at some of these construction going on, bringing the contractors, bringing in their project data, and you superimpose it into your existing map to see how it looks, in the geographic context, and you could be able to georeference it, and also, make decisions on what not to have, and assess the environmental impact of that particular project. So next we want to look at is ArcGIS Urban. So ArcGIS Urban enables planners and design professionals to collaborate across teams with a web-based 3D application. So the ArcGIS Urban is a web-based 3D application which you can use to, create projects, create zoning plans, and other kind of planning. So some of the benefits include, you'll be able to build different land use scenarios, measure impact as you plan. So you could actually measure your impact as you plan your city. You also maintain data consistency across your organization, so you don't have different data flying in and out. So they all sit in either your enterprise or your ArcGIS online cloud storage. So you could do a lot of analysis. You could visualize and track projects also with the ArcGIS Urban. So we also want to look at the ArcGIS City Engine. So the ArcGIS City Engine is actually an advanced 3D modeling software for creating massive interactive and immersive urban environments in less time than the traditional modeling technique. So the architects are not left behind, the engineers are not left behind, so they could leverage these tools to actually plan cities, superimpose their different plan from different system into the city engine. Now, one thing about the city engine is actually very, very integratable with different systems, both your ArcGIS Online. You could bring data from your ArcGIS Online or from your ArcGIS Pro or your BIM data. So it helps to build interactive 3D cities. It focuses on building interactive 3D cities. It maximizes integration, like I said. You could bring in data from different sources and have them and visualize them, and work with compatible formats also, and being able to connect with ArcGIS systems. So if you have different departments that are handling the administration or boundary data, and you have different departments which is maybe involved in the engineering, you could bring all those data sets together, and actually use it to plan your city. And most importantly, you want to dive into the visual reality. You want to bring your city alive. You want to visualize the city the way it's going to look like in real life. So also we have different other tools which you can leverage on the ArcGIS systems. So you have the survey 1, 2, 3 for public engagement, like we talked about. We have a dashboard also. You want to create awareness or want to inform the public. So those are some of the other tools, but we just focus on these 3 tools for the planning aspect or the 3D visualization aspect of city planning. So I'll go straight into the demonstration. I'll be demonstrating how you can leverage some of these tools that we have talked about for city planning. So okay. Please confirm if you can see my screen. All right, so we want to look at utilizing. First, we want to look at the ArcGIS Pro aspect of city planning. So here we are actually at the Ibadan city. So we want to look at some of the data sets that we have. This is actually a 2D map, right? We have the different zones here. We'll look at the blocks. Now we want to look at using existing building footprints, yeah, which include buildings not surveyed, the civil cultural center museum and the rest. So you could actually symbolize them based on the attributes that we have. Here you have all your data sets in here. So this is actually building footprints of all the buildings around the Ibadan city. So now I want to look at using leveraging the ArcGIS Pro, for visualizing, how your city look like in 3D. So, but the first thing we have to do is we want to look at using our attribute data that we have here. So here we have in our data we have the floors of each building here. So field workers have probably gone to the field to note the number of floors of each building, right? So we have that in our attribute table. So what we actually did was, create another attribute for the building elevation, because we want to actually visualize this building in 3D, because the floors won't help. We want to actually use the building elevation to extrude our buildings. So first thing we did was, to just write a little Python code which utilizes the floor. So we want to look at, we assume that each floor actually has is 3.4 meter high, right? Then plus the ceiling. So we had to add a 1.7 meter for the ceiling. So this is just for demonstration sake. So it utilizes the floors for each of the building footprint we have, and we multiply it by how high each floor is, and we actually add the ceiling. Then we applied that, and this gave us the elevation for um, so this gave us the elevation. This gave us the elevation for our building. So the next thing we did was actually to convert our view to a 3D view to see how this building look in 3D, to see which are the high-rise buildings and which are the low-rise buildings, and want to also look at the existing building type to ascertain, okay, if does this building type meet the standard, and is this building type supposed to be this high? So what we did was we converted this to a local scene. Okay, so for the purpose of time, I already did the conversion earlier. Okay, so after converting the scene to a 3D scene, we want to look at clicking on the existing building layer. So what we did is go to the feature layer and extrude. Using this extrusion tool here, we actually used the field, which is actually our building elevation, to visualize our building in 3D. And you want to also pick the units in meters, miles, kilometers, or the rest. So we use the meters. So as you can see, all the buildings are being visualized. So we brought it back from the 2D to the 3D with just little analysis, and you could look at some of the buildings with their symbology. And you want to click on this to actually know the exact type of building, which is the highest. You want to look at some of the attributes of it. And actually, this auditorium is actually a church, a place of worship. So responsible for how tall or how high-rise the buildings are. So these are just ways to actually first visualize your existing data sets of your city, using the building footprint. And also ArcGIS provides you with deep learning tools which you can use to automatically detect building footprints, or extract building footprints actually from high resolution imagery. So all these tools are embedded into the ArcGIS Pro. So the next one we want to look at is using the ArcGIS Urban. So the ArcGIS Urban is a simple application, like I said, is a web application which you can use to plan different zones or different scenarios of how your city would look like. So first thing you have to do is go to create an app, and under the create an app you have the ArcGIS Urban. Click on the ArcGIS Urban to create a model for an urban development. So, but I've created one already. So I want to look at how we can create different scenarios of our urban or different scenarios of our land use or our city plan. So just 1 minute. So as you can see on the screen, this is actually an estate or a parcel right here. As you can see, we have first you want to look at the existing plan. So on the existing plan, we have not made any changes, so we just have the parcel boundaries here. So what this does is it utilizes your parcel boundaries to help you, create building plans and building scenarios for different land use activities, to know how you can plan and which exact one you have to choose. So here on the plan one, as you can see on the plan one, we have and another advantage of the ArcGIS Urban is after planning, you could look at what are the indicators that this actual plan will give to you. You want to look at the population is built for, which is about 30,000. Yeah, the households, the jobs it will create, the parking spots. There are no parking spots here. Actually, you also want to look at the CO2 emission, the internal water use. So it gives you a summary of what you would expect from this plan. So on the plan two, on the other end, so on the plan two on the other end is a different plan entirely. So we have more high-rise buildings, but it's as you can see, the population reduced to about 17,000. The households also reduced because it's focused more on business, and the jobs, we have more jobs than the previous. We have more parking lots because of, it's focused on business than residential. We have more CO2 emissions, external use, wastewater. So these are some of the tools you can utilize to create different scenarios of plan use. So it's just simple. If I want to create another plan, I'll just right click and add another scenario. I can call this plan. Okay. I want to use the existing credentials and click OK. So what this gives me another scenario of plan. So I will start from scratch to build up my city using different indicators that have been provided by ArcGIS Urban. So yeah, I just want to do a quick one. So I want to mark all the parcels that I have here. So here we have the develop. You want to develop the city or the plan that you actually want. So here you go to modify and you apply multiple building types. If you want to apply just maybe, for example, this is an estate with the same type of building, right? You want to apply just one building type. But if it's a city with different type of building, schools and parking lots, medical centers and the rest, you want to actually apply multiple buildings. And you can choose the building type. We have the high-rise hotel, the high-rise office, the facilities. Look at the low-rise office also. Look at industrial warehouse if you want to add that. So you just use the percentage to. Okay, I need to add medical center. So okay, yeah, card is cool. So now these are some of the presets here. You could actually configure your presets if you want to. Maybe if you have other building type that you want to add here, you could actually do that and design them in the back end also to just give you a better planning tailored to your own need. So I'll just adjust this percentage. So you could just click on apply, and what this does is okay, so it's actually loading. Okay, I need to change this to 0 and click on apply. So it's so what this does is it's used all the indicators that you have assigned to actually plan a city for you easily, which you can use for decision making, and you could also edit the building if you want to. Could edit the building if you can edit the individual building if you want to by going to modify. And also you want to also look at the dashboard, right? There are no population. Okay, this is selected. So here we have some of the indicators here. Oh, there are no residential, so that's why there are no population. So we have jobs, we have energy use, we have the CO2 emissions, we have the wastewater, and different indicators that you have, and you could also download this, as an Excel file for bringing it to another system that you want to use actually. So here we have the plan two. Okay, I said plane. Sorry, that was a mistake. So plan one, plan two, and plan three on plane. So here you could leverage different scenarios for your planning depending on how you want, and you have some indicators to actually help your decision making. So that's how you utilize the ArcGIS Urban. So there are a lot of tools. You could also create projects, you want to add green environment, you want to add cars. So all you have to do is mitigate and go back to the project where you could add your roads, the different environmental structures to it. So there are a lot of things you could do with the ArcGIS Urban. Time will not permit us to go into all of them in full details. So the last must not be the least is the ArcGIS City Engine. Okay. So here we, as you can see, we have, let me just refresh this. Okay, this will take time. So I'll just use this. So now, as you can see, all the plans we have made on our ArcGIS Urban, we can bring it into the ArcGIS City Engine by connecting to our portal, and people or analysts who are good or professionals who are good in architectural designs can utilize this tool to create more insights, do a more advanced 3D analysis or 3D modeling with all the plans that we have created. Like as you can see, we have the plan one and also the plan two. And you'll be able to also import map data into your map. And you'll be able to create you'll be able to create a more visual reality of your plan. So as you can see, you can bring in data right from your ArcGIS online or right from your 5G database or right from your ArcGIS Pro and bring it into the city engine where people who are into modeling can start giving your plan more life and bringing it to reality. So that is that for the presentation for today. Thank you everyone. So Moin, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much, Benedict.
So we'll
Thank you
go
very much,
straight.
Benedict.
Thank you very much. So I'll stop
Thank you
sharing.
so much. Um, so we are done for the presentation. Please note that this presentation is being recorded, and so we will be sent the recordings to the link to the recording after the presentation. Thank you so much, Benedict, once again. And I know we have questions. Our questions are being noted. We have other team members, technical team members from Sambos Geospatial Nigeria that will be answering our questions. So you can still jot down some of your questions down. You can raise up your hands if you have questions. And to continue, in celebration of World Cities Day, we just have a poll that we have here. So we want to know where you are from, which city you are from. Are you in Lagos? From the chat, I could see someone is from Sierra Leone. You're welcome. So we want to know where you are from. So right now a poll will be pulled up. You can indicate your city And if your city's name is not there, please indicate it in the chat box. We'd love to know where you are from. So right now it's time for our Q&A. It's time for our Q&A. So we have our technical team members here that will be answering our Q&A. We already have some in the chat box, but like I said again, you can raise up your hands if you have anyone. And also you can type it in the chat box to let us know your question. So I would open the floor for our panelists. And we have Mr. Nyolua, we have Mr. Bamidele Clement, we have Mr. Taufik, and we also have from our BD, our business development, Mr. Olumide, that will be answering our questions. So I think we have a question here. We have someone asking if the data we used, sorry, give me a minute. Okay, someone is asking if the Ibadan city data is open source and if they can access it to practice. Does anyone have? Okay, yes, it's available for, okay, somebody wants to answer you.
Okay, all right. Can I take that? Can I go ahead? Okay.
You can go ahead, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, yeah. So most of the data are open source, not all. Most of the data are open source. So you could go to Gritry, or you could also go to our open data hub. Sandbox will also be releasing some of the data sets as open source that we have gathered. So you could also make requests on our open data hub, which will be shared with you maybe with the recording. So we share the link. So you could also request for any data that you want that we have. So yeah,
Okay,
so
thank
you
you.
can go on Gridtree also to get some of the data.
Okay, thank you, Clement. So some of the links of the open data source are being pasted right now, so you can go and visit there if you want to practice. And just to let us know, S3 has trainings concerning webinars like this concerning 3D mapping. There's one that just was recently done, which is the BEAM, the egg beam webinar, which spoke mostly about about the 3D planning. Is all over, but I'm very sure starting from January, more trainings about how to use GIS technology in city planning will come up from Esri. So you can register on Esri platform to learn more about their training. Some of them are free trainings that you can participate in. Thank you. So I don't know if anyone still has any questions for us before we leave. Okay, it seems we do not have any more questions. We want to thank you once again for joining us today. And if you have any more inquiries, if you have any more inquiries, you can reach us at Sambos Geospatial. You can reach us at sambosgeospatial.com, www.sambosgeospatial.com, or you can reach us at info@sambosgeospatial. You can reach us at info@sambosgeospatial. Sorry, give me a minute. .com, and we would reply all your messages. We want to thank you once again for attending today's webinar. And as time goes on, we will also be sending you some other webinars that we would do. We do monthly webinars, so we will send you more invites and more information about our webinars. Thank you once again. Let's have a wonderful day. Okay, we have a question from someone. Mr. Yaya Aruna Yaya. Sorry if I pronounced that wrongly. You can unmute yourself, sir, and ask a question.
Please, will we be getting the presentation PowerPoint?
Yes, sir. You'll be getting the presentation. The recordings will be sent to your emails immediately after this session. The recordings will be sent to your emails immediately after this session.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, too, sir. Okay, someone was asking if they could get links to their emails concerning SRE learning resources. Yes, we would also send some links for you to register on with SRE and then see their training. Also, we'll send links of some other webinars we have done and some other trainings we have done from Sambos Geospatial Limited. So we'll send all those links to you. So do we have any more questions? Okay, I have some questions here. Just give me a minute. Okay, I have a question here. I intend to improve on my knowledge on 3D mapping to better serve my community, hence world at large. Okay, I think that is all for today. We don't have any more questions. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. Let's have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.